Hello, everybody. Welcome. Everybody here. I want to start off a little bit slow and let people roll in the next 30 seconds to a minute. Thanks so much for joining me. This is the Money in May 4-week webinar series. Welcome. My name is Ande Anderson, and for those of you who don't know me, I am the co-founder of Avaya Media with my partner Ike Allen and the co-founder of The Truth About Prosperity. So thanks so much for being here. As we get started, please type into the chat box to the right of this video and let me know you're here. And let me know your name and where you're from. And I will just say hi to everybody once you guys hop on. And I know that sometimes there's a little bit of a lag with YouTube Live. So it might take a couple seconds for you all to roll in. But this is an exciting time. I'm so glad to have you joining me here for this month. And we are going to have a lot of fun and go through some really amazing content and break free from money limitations, disempowering beliefs, and all sorts of good stuff. Oh, I see Vicky from Minnesota. Hello, Vicky. Thank you so much for saying hello and tuning in. Anybody else who's online right now, please just give us your name and where you're from in the chat box to the right of this video, and then I will dive into all the content. I hope everybody's doing okay. Let's see here. Oh, Jane Chadwick from Aurora, Colorado. All right. Or sorry, Jan Chadwick from Aurora, Colorado. I was born and raised in Boulder, Colorado, Jan. I actually just moved away from Boulder a little less than a year ago and now live in the coast of North Carolina. So welcome, Jan. Thanks so much for being here. All righty. Okay, well, I will dive into things here as people roll in. Again, everybody, I am Ande Anderson if you're just now tuning in. And so thank you so much for joining us for this Money in May 4-week webinar series. Joan, hey, Joan. Oh, from Raleigh, right up the road from us. That's awesome. Hey, Joan. Now, as I start diving into the first webinar today, I'm going to start diving off into the content. And afterwards, we're going to open it up to Q&A. So any burning questions that you have during the webinar, you can write into the chat box to your right, and I will dive into those once we're done. And Jan says, oh, wow, amazing small world. Yes, very small world. So everybody, thanks so much for tuning in again. And I wanted to just touch on why I'm doing this webinar for all of you right now. I wanted to touch on that first. So here's the thing. I love, one of my biggest passions in life is talking about the psychology of money, because money is such an intriguing and amazing topic. And our world needs this topic, especially right now. It is just such a big need for people to learn more about. Hi, Mindy from Wisconsin. So, and here's the thing, there's a gigantic big disconnect between people and money. There's a big wedge, I think, that is in between people and money right now, because in our society, there are tons of disempowering meanings placed on money. There's a lot of negative perceptions about money. There's a lot of shying away from money and feeling like, ugh, and all these interesting emotions and thoughts and beliefs that go along with money. Hello, Allison from England. Wonderful. Thanks so much for being here, Allison. So this really affects every single one of us. Everybody watching right now, everybody listening right now, these negative perceptions about money, these disempowering, limiting stories that our society as a greater whole has about money affects each and every one of us in a really profound way. So here's the bottom line. Money is an incredibly powerful tool. That is what money is. It is a tool, and it has the opportunity to make your life so much easier. That is the big opportunity here. It has the opportunity to make your life so much easier. And here's the other thing. It really sucks, in plain English, to worry about money. It just sucks to feel the anxiety of not having enough. It's really difficult for each of us to really shine in life and be our best and live into our purpose and what we're designed to be doing here on this earth, the natural expression that we're supposed to be expressing to the world. It's really darn hard to live into that and make the difference that we want to make in the world if we're focused on how little money is in the bank or in the wallet or whatever. It's really a big challenge to do that. Hi, Pamela another from North Carolina. Woohoo! All these North Carolina folks. So I know this firsthand. I've had personal experience with this. There was a day when I scraped by financially. It was very challenging. And in my experience, during that time, there was no space in my mind or in my life at all for following my passions, for making a difference in people's lives, because I was so inwardly freaking out. I really was inwardly freaking out, focused on that lack of money that I was experiencing in my life. I focused on that lack. I got more lack. So I just wanted to share that with all of you, because any of you listening to this, watching this right now, if you're experiencing this state of lack right now, this lack of money, this scarcity, this fear, this anxiety, this worry around money, please just know that I can feel your discomfort. I know how you feel. And just the fact that you're watching this right now and that you signed up for this webinar, it truly shows your commitment to breaking free from whatever situation you're in right now. So congratulations for hopping on this and being here for this 4-week series. And I got to tell you, it is a heck of a lot easier and more fun for each of us to truly be our best in life and live into whatever we're here to do and live into that greater purpose we have when we have our own personal financial needs met and the needs of our family met. It just makes life so much easier. So this is why I wanted to do this webinar for you. You know, May is a really great month. There's a lot of growth happening in May, a lot of transformation happening in May, and I wanted to offer this up to you for over the next few weeks. So really, truly take this on, dive into each of the webinars, whether you're listening to them live or you're tuning into them as replays, dive into this content and apply it in your life. And it's really going to help you break free from those limiting beliefs, from those stories, from those disempowering meanings you might have about money, so that you can truly be your best in life. So let's get started. And anyone who's just tuning in a little bit late and tuning in now, I want to let you know that the chat box to the right of this video, you can be chiming in throughout the webinar. Let me know who you are, where you're from, and near the end of the webinar, after I dive into a bunch of this really great content, I will be opening it up to Q&A. So if you have questions throughout the webinar, just go ahead and ask them over to the right of this video, and I will touch on those near the end. So what are we going to dive into today? So we're going to dive into something I love. It is a tool. We're going to dive into a very specific tool that you can start really easily and immediately applying into your life right away. And I wanted to dive into this thing first and foremost because I want you to walk away from this webinar today, tonight, whenever you're watching it, and actually be able to apply something in your life and take action in your life with something. So this tool is called the ROI process. It is called the return on investment process. That's what it stands for. Now, for those of you who have taken or who are taking our Truth About Prosperity program, this ROI tool is outlined in the Quick Start Guide that starts on page 9. But even if you're not taking our program right now, that's totally fine, because you can definitely learn all about this tool from everything I'm about to share with you tonight. We also talked about this tool in our Truth About Prosperity free film series. Now, I'm not sure if all of you have watched our free film series, or maybe that's how you found out about us, but we definitely talk about the tool in there as well. Hello, Stephanie Henderson from Maryland. We got more people rolling in. Thank you so much for being here. Now, we put the ROI process at the beginning of our program and at the beginning of this webinar for a very specific reason. Once again, is to help you start taking action and applying this tool into your life and taking it out into your world right away, so you create these financial shifts in your world as soon as possible. So another thing I wanted to let you know is, after this webinar, I'm going to be sending you an email. So all of you who have signed up for this webinar, you will get an email, and it's actually going to have a link to download a PDF worksheet of this tool called the ROI process. So you can start applying this in your life right away. You can print this PDF out if you want to and actually write in the fields of the printout, or you can just use it as a digital copy and you can type actually into the forms of the fields in the actual PDF itself. So make sure you watch for this email after this call and download that worksheet. It'll make a lot of sense to you once you download it then, because you'll have heard all of my description and step-by-step process of how to go through it. So quick question for everybody. So what do you think, and if you want to be bold and get out there and be vulnerable, type the answer to my question here, what you think the answer to my question is, in the chat box to the right of this video. So what do you think the number one thing you need is in order to create more prosperity in your life? more money to come into your life. So once again, I'll ask it again. What is the number one thing you think you need in order to create more prosperity in your life? Now, just think about this for a moment. I bet there's a lot of different answers out there, but what is it that you think you need in order to create more prosperity in your life? If there was one thing, right? There might be many things, but I like to focus on one very important thing. Anybody going to type anything in? Well, I'll keep rolling on, but definitely chime in if you have an answer to that or you think you might have an answer. So here's the thing. The number one thing you need in order to create more prosperity and more money to flow into your life is to be aware. That is the number one most important thing. Now, okay, so Jan just chimed in to release doubt and increase faith. Awesome. I love it. Stupid fear, right? There it is. Good old fear. Thank you, Stephanie, for chiming in with that. Yeah, so here's the thing. It's all about awareness. It's being aware of doubt. It's being aware of having faith. It's being aware of fear. It's being aware of having any judgments on having fear and all those things. So number one thing you need to do to create more money and more prosperity in your life is to be aware, and particularly be aware of the thoughts that run through your head and the beliefs that you hold. So awareness is the first critical step to creating any kind of change in your life, no matter what it is. You know, I like to talk about it specifically as it relates to your relationship with money, your psychology around success and financial freedom, but it is literally the first most crucial, critical step to creating change in your life is awareness. So another way of looking at this, another way you can see this in a different way is being aware of what you tell yourself. Right? We all tell ourselves different things in our head every single day. Elizabeth is saying courage and shedding last of old beliefs. Awesome. Thank you so much, Elizabeth, for tuning in. I love it when people chime in and we get to all do this together. Hi, Anna from Venezuela. Wonderful. So let's practice this awareness right away. Let's dive in. So right now, what are you thinking? What are you telling yourself right now in this moment? Just take a little step back. The whole process of, starting to become aware of your thoughts and beliefs as it relates to money is to be taking a step back and just pausing and checking in with yourself to see what is it that you're thinking right now? What are you telling yourself right now? And this is a practice, and it takes time to get skilled at this practice. So what thoughts are going through your head right now? And when I tell you that the first thing you need in order to experience more money coming into your life is to be aware of your thoughts. What do you tell yourself when I tell you that? Maybe you're thinking, well, that's interesting, right? I need to pay attention to this. This sounds like something that I need to know. This is interesting. Or maybe you're telling yourself, maybe that little voice in your head is chiming in saying, that's not true, Andy. The first thing I need to do is to get into action and, check things off my to-do list or do things in my life in order to make money, right? So maybe you're telling yourself, I've heard this before. This is old news. Everybody in the world of personal and spiritual development talks about this. Maybe that's what's going through your head. So no matter what it is that's going through your head right now, just take a minute and tune into that, because this journey to greater prosperity is all about being true to yourself and being true to what's going on in you and being aware of what's happening inside your mind in every given moment. So I'm going to be encouraging you throughout the 4 webinars in this month to be checking in with yourself and taking a look at what you're thinking in every moment and what are you telling yourself throughout this webinar this evening or today, whenever you're watching this, and all of the webinars this month. So just start practicing being aware. Hello, Elizabeth from Mexico City. Wonderful. So I'd love to dive into talking about the balance of your inner world in your outer world. So one of the issues I see that a lot of people are faced with on their journey to making more money, to becoming financially free, to saving, to, living that amazing quality of life that they want to live, is that they're either focusing only on their inner journey, right? Or only on the outer journey, what's happening out here. Now, the issue with addressing only your inner journey is inner journey, meaning your beliefs, your thoughts, your personal development and working on what's happening inside, is very little action is taken in the outer world to actually create the financial results that you might be looking to achieve. Okay, so that's the issue. If you're only addressing that inner world, a lot of times you're not in action in actually getting things done in the world to create those results. So you can't just work on the inner thoughts and beliefs and sit around and taking no action and expect more money to flow into your life. Now, that is not to say that that never happens, because I have definitely had experiences of really extraordinary manifestation and like money coming to me by doing nothing or seemingly doing nothing or coming out of thin air, and these interesting experiences. And I know, I'm guessing a lot of you have either had an experience like that, either with money or with something else in your life, that, right, the universe is, you know, creating this all of a sudden this prosperity for you. Maybe you get a check in the mail, or maybe, you know, you have someone who dies who you didn't even know, who you have an inheritance from. So interesting, weird, you know, things happen in life. And so that can definitely happen. And my biggest take home message for you is, don't just focus on your inner journey. Make sure you are focusing that inner journey work and combining that with actually taking action in the outer world. You know, one of our good friends, Joe Vitale, who is in several of our films that Via Media puts out, as well as actually the last global online conference we did, I interviewed Joe. And one of his most famous lines is, money likes speed, right? Money likes you to be in action. And so it's a good way to think about money. If you think about money from the perspective of what money likes you to do, money likes speed. So if you're in action, it will more quickly result in you creating that money in your life if you're working on your inner world at the same time. So, and then here's the thing, the flip side of this is, if you address only your outer journey, right? If you're only taking action in life and, you know, checking things off your to-do list, and you have goals and you have it all set out and figured out, and you have all these things you're going to do every day, and you're only focused on taking those actions, but you're not checking in, then challenges can occur with that too. So the reason being for this is that you have, or other people have, inner blocks to becoming financially successful that haven't been addressed yet. So no matter how many actions you might take in the outer world, you're not actually seeing the prosperity come into your life because you're not dealing with what's going on the inside. So can any of you relate to this? This is a big topic. I know I used to do this all the time. And this is actually, I have more of a tendency to dive into just focusing on my outer world and get, you know, become a busy bee and do all day long and check things off my list and get out of balance in that way. And it's really a sign of being out of integrity, right? If we're out of balance. So anyone else can relate to that, I'm sure. So, and all that being said, so this is all about balance. So this program, this webinar series, all of the stuff that I like to teach you about the truth about prosperity is not about just sitting on your butt and just doing the inner work. It is, once again, about taking action, and taking action on your inner beliefs and taking action in the outer world. So the ROI process tool that I want to introduce you to, again, it's called the Return on Investment tool. This tool is really amazing because actually it addresses your inner journey and your outer journey. So hence, this tool is really extraordinary because you can actually apply it to both aspects of your life simultaneously, really. So this balance between your inner and outer world is absolutely crucial to your success in life and in business, or whatever it is that you're doing to make money. So this tool, it addresses your foundational thoughts and beliefs, and it actually inspires you to take action in your outer world to create that prosperity that you're looking for. My partner Ike loves to call this the power of and, right? It's all about the power of and. We often live in a black or white world, or at least that's what our minds tell us, that it needs to be this way or it needs to be that way. I need to focus on, you know, just this or just that, as opposed to focusing on both simultaneously, the power of and. So in the webinar tonight or today, again, whenever you're listening to this, because I know there's different times of the world right now, I'm going to be focusing on training you to uncover these thoughts and these hidden beliefs that are stopping you from achieving whatever level of financial success you're looking to achieve. And we all have different levels of success. I like to talk about how the truth about prosperity is a very unique circumstance to each of us. The truth about prosperity for you, Allison, or you, Elizabeth, or you, Stephanie, or Jan, is completely different probably than my truth about prosperity. And that's something really important to know, is that we each have a unique truth about our prosperity. So you might be looking to achieve, a certain level of financial success, and someone else is looking to achieve a different level of financial success. So totally unique to every single individual, just as we each have an individual path that we are destined to fulfill on in our lives, right? Just like each of us has a unique purpose to fulfill on in our lives, all of those kinds of things. We each have our own, favorite color. So anyways, so this, again, I'm going to dive into all sorts of things around uncovering these thoughts and beliefs that are stopping you from achieving whatever level of success that you want to achieve. Now, this applies to you if you're an entrepreneur. If you currently are an employee, you have a job. Let's say you might be looking for a higher paying, more fulfilling career. This applies to you. Maybe you're looking to start a side business. You have a job, but you're also looking to expand and start an entrepreneurial venture on the side. And maybe you want to generate an extra $10,000, $20,000 a year, whatever it is. Maybe you're saving for your retirement, or to put your kids through college, or whatever it is, or help them start a business of their own. Or maybe you're currently retired and you want to grow your investment portfolio. So whatever it is, this tool is going to help you dive into any of the things that you want on your level of success. So without further ado, let's dive into this tool. So this tool actually helps you uncover what you're telling yourself that's not true, right? And this could be what you're denying, where you're out of integrity with yourself. So it helps you uncover what you're telling yourself that's not true, and then it helps you admit what's actually true for you. It also helps you confront the cost you've been paying by not being honest with yourself. The mind is a very sneaky thing, and it often tells us things that aren't true. So as we dive deeper and deeper into this content, you will find that it really does. It's amazing how it's kind of miraculous. If you look at it from an empowering context, looking at the human mind is pretty miraculous, because it can chime away and churn out all sorts of interesting things it likes to say to you that just aren't true. And if you're not aware of it, you believe it. And if you believe it and you're not aware of it, then you're unconscious. And that's when you get into these issues with money. That's when you get into issues in relationships, with your health, with your weight, whatever it is. So this tool is also going to help you choose new ways of being to live by. And that rises up in the space you're going to create by being honest with yourself and feeling something called the ouch factor. And it's also going to help you take inspired actions to actually ignite change in your life and actually help you see financial results. So I'm going to dive into the steps of this tool right now. And after I dive into the steps of this tool, then I'm going to go through a specific example so you can see how it could actually be applied in somebody's life. And again, to remind everybody and anybody who hopped on the call late, I am going to be sending out a PDF download of this tool and all the different steps that you need to take to apply this tool in your life. I'll send it out in an email after we're done with tonight's webinar so that you can start practicing. So the R of the ROI process is called the revelation step. And this is where you tell yourself something, and then it's usually something you tell yourself that's not true. And then you say, well, the truth for me is this. And again, this will make more sense in a few minutes. And then you ask yourself, is this really true for me? So really diving into, are you actually telling yourself the truth? So that is the R step. The O step is called the ouch factor, and that is the cost or the impact or the consequence that really not being honest with yourself has had on you in your life. And then you dive into the ouch factor for other people in your life. And then the I of the ROI process is the inspired way of being and the inspired action. Now, the inspired way of being could be anything like a way of being called being powerful or being empowered, being prosperous, being wealthy, being confident, being happy, being peaceful, all sorts of different ways of being that you can choose in your life. And then the I step also has an inspired action you take, and then a date and time you will take that action by. So let's dive into an example so you all can understand what this tool is all about. So when I dive into this example, try to relate it to your own life, okay? So try to relate it into something that you're experiencing right now in your life. So example is a woman named Sandra. She is confronting how she feels about how much money she's making right now in her business. So how many can relate to this right now? How many of you are confronting right now, probably a lot of you based on being on this webinar right now, how many of you are confronting whatever level of income you're at in your business or your life or your job or whatever right now? So Sandra dives into the ROI process. So in the R step, she goes through the first step is I tell myself. So here's what she tells herself. It doesn't bother me that I'm earning less than I want to in my business. Okay, so that's what she tells herself. The truth for me is, so here's where she reveals her truth, is I'm actually embarrassed, I am sad, I'm frustrated that I'm not living up to my full potential as an entrepreneur. So that's what her truth is. She is speaking her truth. Now, the next step is this really true for me? So we put this step in here because it's really important. Once again, the mind is a very sneaky little contraption and tends to trick us into believing certain things that aren't true, right? So this step is really put in there. Is this really true for me? For you to just check in with yourself one more time and make sure that you're actually telling the truth. And the next step is that ouch factor I was talking about. Now, by the name of this part of the process, you can imagine, right? It's the ouch factor. This is all about feeling. Okay, so this is all about going from a space of thinking, and thinking is really what you tell yourself. I tell myself, I don't deserve to have a lot of money. That is a thought, right? Or a belief. And the ouch factor dives all into how you feel. So it's really important to focus on how you feel in this step. So for this woman, again, example of Sandra, the ouch factor for me is I'm avoiding talking to my, let's say, network of entrepreneurs because I feel embarrassed. I feel unhappy. And I feel ashamed that I can't afford to take my family on vacations or go out to eat with my friends, right? So she's really diving into how she feels based on telling herself something that's not true, that she's actually okay with the level of income she's making when she's really not. Now she dives into the ouch factor for her husband, right? Because all of our actions and who we be in life affect people around us. Right? It affects our partners, it affects our children, it affects the people we do business with, the people we work next to at work or whatever it is. So we have an effect on everyone around us in who we be and how we act. So the ouch factor for her husband is, well, he has to carry the burden of paying all the bills because she's saying, I don't contribute much to the household budget. And he has to live with me feeling sad and feeling frustrated all the time, which therefore makes him feel sad. Right. So again, tapping into those feelings of how does it make her husband feel? And this is kind of speculative. It actually is speculative. It's not even kind of. If she hasn't talked to her husband about this, then it is just speculative of, well, what do you think it makes him feel like? So she's speculating. The ouch factor for her son is he feels sad and he feels embarrassed that she can't pay for him to play in that, let's say, that soccer league he really wants to participate in, that travel league that she doesn't have enough money to pay for. Right. So we have gone through the first two steps, the R and the O, and now we're on to the I. So that is the inspired way of being and inspired action. So the inspired new way of being. So another way of looking at this, again, new ways of being could be, once again, like being empowered, being happy, being confident, being powerful, whatever it is. Another way of looking at this could be, as you go through the steps of the process, is to imagine that you are, right, a bird flying up over your life. Right? What does that bird see in your life? And if you wanted to change and be something different and be someone who was making more money in your business, then who would you have to be being in order to achieve those results? It's just kind of a different way of framing this and looking at it in a different way. So anyways, if she was to really take a look at what would be a new inspired way of being she wants to take on being empowered. Okay, so being empowered is where she wants to go with her life. So an inspired action she will take is wake up, let's say 2 hours earlier each day to create a piece of content for her blog and promote it to generate traffic and sales to her website, right? A very specific action that she's going to take based on going through this process. And the date and time that she's going to take this by is tomorrow morning, 6 a.m., right? And it's really important that you make sure you set an actual time and date that you're going to do this action to hold yourself accountable. And another great thing is to share this process as you go through it with other people in your life so that they can help hold you accountable too, or do it as a group, or you and your partner, if you want to try this on and taking yourself through this process in your life, then just make sure you're sharing it with each other so you can both be accountability buddies for each other. So this is it. This is this process. Very simple and super, super effective in your life. So I want to dive a little bit deeper into it so that you know exactly what you're doing when you print out that PDF download later. So you'll notice that under, once again, that revelation step, the R of the ROI process, that third step was, is this really true for me? I touched on this a little bit before, but once again, I want to hone in on this because it's so important. Our mind, once again, can make up all sorts of things that aren't true. So just make sure that you're actually telling yourself the truth. So this is also where this process deals a lot with resonance, right? With, does it resonate with me? Does it intuitively feel true to me? So tap into that when you're going through the process. And here's the thing, if you declared something in the truth for me as step, and it doesn't quite feel in resonance with you, it just kind of feels off, it doesn't feel 100% right for you, start over. Start the process over again until it actually feels right and it resonates with you. So here's an example of that. Let's say a guy named Steve, he tells himself, so he's going through the process. Let's take another example. So he tells himself that I'm going to focus on growing my business every day till I make, let's say, $100,000 a year. All right, so that's what he's telling himself. Maybe that's even what he's telling his friends. I'm going to do this. I'm going to focus on growing my business every single day until I make $100,000 a year. That's my goal. Now, the truth for me is I am not going to focus on growing my business every day because here's the thing. I just actually don't really enjoy the business I'm in. I want to try something different. Okay, so that's step number 2. Now, here's where that intuition and resonance comes in. What Steve said when he was doing this process with himself, it didn't feel quite accurate to him. He's like, man, is this really true for me? I don't know. I feel like maybe I'm not telling myself something that's true here. So once he was clear, he did the process over again, and that's why I'm sharing this. So if you come up against something that just doesn't quite feel in resonance with you, go through the process again. So let's start over. So Steve tells himself, I'm going to focus on growing my business every day until I make $100,000 a year. Now, here's the real truth for me. I'm actually avoiding taking action on my business because I don't think I have what it takes. I don't think I have what it takes to make $100,000 a year. So now that feels right. I can feel it in this moment, and all of you listening, just tap into that feeling. Oh, there's the truth. Got it. I'm telling myself I'm going to focus on my business until I make this much money a year, but here's the truth. I actually don't believe I have what it takes. So that's the truth that he's uncovering. So awesome. Uncover that truth. That is the number 1 first step, once again, is to be aware of your truth. So, when he was finally able to tell the truth about that, then he can dive into the next step. So again, ouch factor for him is, well, I've been spending a lot of time at my computer and I'm really just kind of pretending to work on my business. Who can relate to that? Anybody pretending to work on things or telling themselves they're working on things, but you're not really working on things? I can definitely relate to that. But really, he's just wasting time. He's chatting with his friends on social media or Facebook, and he's not very focused. And he's not enjoying, another ouch is he's not enjoying the quality of life he wants to. He's not getting to take days off, right? Take the weekends off, let's say, and just totally unplug and recharge and spend extra time with his kids. So, and then if he dives into the ouch factor for his children, well, he can anticipate that they feel kind of lonely, right? They're feeling sad that their dad doesn't spend more time with them, right? They're not getting that guidance and that love that they need from their dad. So this is the ouch factor for Steve, and this is the ouch factor for his children. So a new inspired way of being in this next step, here's the I step, right? Steve comes up with a new inspired way of being, and what comes to him in resonance is being honest. Right? I can feel the resonance of that being honest in this moment, right? So he wants to focus on, wow, if I was just being honest in my life, I can imagine I would just be so much happier, be, doing what I love more, being with my children more, actually focusing on my business when I'm focusing on my business, right? As opposed to just pretending. And the next part is the inspired action. So the inspired action that Steve came up with is he's going to share his ROI process. He's going to go through the steps with 3 of his entrepreneur friends so they can help hold him accountable to growing his business to that $100,000 a year goal that he's looking to achieve. And again, date and time that he's going to achieve that by is, let's say, tonight by 8 p.m. So there is the example of Steve. So So again, the more you apply this process to areas of your financial life where you're disempowered, where you feel uneasy, where you feel, any kind of limitation rising up, you're going to start realizing that this new inspired way of being actually rises up from that same space of intuition or resonance. Right? It's like you surrendering into going through these steps and being honest with yourself and actually telling the truth, or what is your truth, and being willing to feel the ouch of what's that has caused you. Then it really is like the universe, by whatever name you want to call it, spirituality, intuition, resonance, rises up and really shows you a new way of being, right? So shows you that new way of being, called being honest, called being empowered. So one little tip, and this is a tip totally from personal experience, absolutely. Don't go into the process thinking that you logically, in your logical mind, you're going to know what the new way of being is going to be for you, right? So don't do that, because then you personally aren't creating this new way of being. When I apply the process, Ande Anderson, am not creating this new way of being for myself. I surrender into whatever the universe wants that new way of being for me to be, right? That way of being that's going to make me most fulfilled and most happy and most able to help others in the world. So again, just a little, reminder to make sure that you're not actually really tapping into your ego mind and that logical mind and coming up with, right, I want to do the process and I want to be more confident in my life. Well, apply the process and see whatever way of being rises up for you. And the same thing is true for the inspired action that we talked about. So intuition or resonance or the universe or whatever you want to call it helps show you what inspired action to take as well. So, and here's a quick note. So it's important to note that you won't always be guided to take an action. So it's not always about every single time you do this tool, oh, you're in action. Not that you can't be, but there are plenty of times when I apply this in my life where it's like, okay, hang on. Right now, all the universe is trying to get me to focus on right now is just really sitting in the space of being. My new way of being is being confident, right? Or being happy, or being peaceful. Right. So just, again, it's a practice of tapping into knowing your truth and when it's time to just be something and practice that in your life, and when it's time to actually take action. One of my super awesome, amazing friends and colleagues, Dana Wild, talks about like feeling good first, especially as it relates to business. Feel good first and then take action. I'm paraphrasing how she usually says it, but it's really important. So feel good first, as in focus on that way of being, called being confident, being powerful, being happy, and then take action in your life if you feel so inspired to take action. So why in the world are we spending so much time in this first webinar on this one tool? Well, here's the thing. This tool is it's literally the process by which virtually all change occurs in life. This is really the normal human process of change that I've just taken you through. So that is why I've gone into this for the past, let's say, 30 minutes. And really dug deep into it, because this is how humans change. This is how all of us as humans make changes and transformations in our life. So it's a really simple tool that you can apply to start creating change in your life. So, and I'm going to dive into even greater detail about how change occurs in the other webinars, but the most important takeaway for you is to just start practicing this tool. So you may have recognized by now that you can apply the ROI process to any area of your life. You can apply it to your finances. You can apply it to your relationship with your body. You can apply it to your relationship with your spouse, with your children, with your friends, to your relationship with spirituality, by whatever name, whatever it is, you're going to apply it to anything in your life. And that being said, you can apply it to any area of your financial life that you feel disempowered as well. So let's say you're telling yourself something as it relates to saving money. Maybe, oh, saving money is just too hard. Okay, apply the ROI process to what you just said. Maybe you're telling yourself something about investing money. I don't know anything about investing money, so I can't do it. Ask yourself, is that really true? Oh no, actually that's not true. I don't know anything about it right now. and I can learn and ask questions and maybe take a class or, start watching some YouTube videos or buy a couple of books in order to educate myself on how I could invest money in my life. Oh, someone just said something about Dana Wild. Yep, feel good, act great. Yes, she is so super. I agree. I love Dana. Other things you could be telling yourself that you could apply the process to is you're telling yourself something about making money, right? Like making money is hard, or making money takes too much work, or any number of things. Maybe you're telling yourself something about people who have money, right? You could have a disempowering or limiting thought or story about people who have money and apply the process to this, or really, once again, any area of your life. So where do you start? If you're not sure right in this moment where you would apply this tool, where you would apply the ROI process, just take a look at what areas of your life related to your financial well-being specifically, where do you feel uncomfortable? Where do you feel limited? Where do you feel disempowered or maybe upset, or maybe it's something you don't really want to look at, right? You want to shy away from. Where do you want to experience a change? If you're not making the money that you want to experience right now, apply the process to it. That's an area of your life that you want to experience a change. So I want to dive into a list of really common thoughts and beliefs that people have around money. I said at the beginning of this webinar that the world needs this message right now because we have such a gigantic disconnect between money and people. And it could be how you were raised. I was raised in a family that definitely had a level of scarcity running in the background, and there was, a divorce, and there was not enough money, and almost a bankruptcy, and all of that kind of stuff. So I grew up with those hidden, what was hidden for a very long time, thoughts of scarcity, and that there was never enough. So all of us have stories. We have stories from our families, stories that we've taken on from our parents. Maybe our parents believed that, there's never enough time to make money. And so then you took that on as your belief, and you never even were consciously aware that that's what you did. And you actually think that's who you are. Well, no, it's not who you are. It's actually who your dad is. And that's actually probably not even who he is. That's who his dad is, or his mom, or whatever. So there's a long laundry list of just generations of people having struggled with what money is for, and what, how people feel about money, and all of these things. So I want to dive into, again, just a list of really common beliefs and thoughts about money. And as I do this, chime in the comments and tell me, have you experienced these thoughts or beliefs, or is this something that you have and you're working through right now? Because most of us have experienced many of these, or continue to experience many of these. So here's one, like, I've just never been lucky enough to have money. That's a very common belief. Oh, I'm just not lucky enough, right? Or other people can do it, but I can't. Another big, very common belief about money. I have a problem with money, or I'm not good making money, or I repel money, right? All these things are really common beliefs. Here's another one. I have failed over and over again, so why should it work now? Right? That kind of belief that is ingrained in so many of our minds, whether this has to do with making money in your life, or this could be doing, something as it relates to your relationships, right? I've failed time and time again in my relationships. So why should I find someone now, right? Why should I find that soulmate or that perfect person for me now, right? Really common belief. So let's say making more money means working my life away, right? Or trading time for money. It has to be that way. That's the only way I can make money. Again, really common beliefs. Here's a really common one, right? Rich people or wealthy people are greedy, right? Who can relate to that? I definitely have a memory of certain statements like that being said to me as I grew up, right? And, oh, it's a good thing that we don't have that much money when I was a kid, because you see, we're not greedy people. Right? So who can relate to that? And how, if you can relate to that, and that's something that's ingrained in you, how is that affecting your today? How is that affecting your ability to make money today? How is that affecting your belief in yourself? How is that affecting your family? If you're struggling with money, how is that affecting you? So here's another one. Wealthy people are unhappy, right? It's a blanket statement. Oh, if you're wealthy, you're unhappy. Or let's say money isn't everything. right? Money isn't everything. Now, this is a really interesting statement because, first of all, most people who say something like money isn't everything, a lot of times they have money. So it's an interesting thing to say if you have money and you're not concerned with, paying your bills or getting the water shut off or making sure your kids have enough food and cereal for breakfast in the morning or whatever it is, right? Money isn't everything. Well, got it. Yeah, money isn't everything. True. It's not this water bottle. Money, I guess you could buy this water bottle with money. So that's true, but this isn't actually physically money, right? Money isn't everything. That's true. And there's a lot of hidden underlying beliefs that go into that statement. Another, I think, thing that people say to themselves when they say money isn't everything is, let's say you don't have a lot of money and you throw around that statement, right? Money isn't everything. Oftentimes there's something hidden beneath that. And oftentimes it looks like an excuse as to why you don't think you can make money or why you don't want to move forward in making money. Well, money isn't everything, right? It's not everything, so why should I try? Or, it's not everything, so I don't deserve to have it. So there's just layers upon layers upon layers of beliefs and thoughts about money. And so this is why I want to just keep telling you about these things, just to see where they resonate with you. How have these things affected you in your life, and how are they affecting you now? And some of these beliefs might be so deeply ingrained in your subconscious mind that you don't even know they're there yet. And that's okay, because that's what we're here to be working through in the next 4 webinars, is to really be uncovering these blind spots and help shed light on these areas of your life that you're not even aware of yet. Here's another one, right? If I have money, I'll be greedy, or if I have money, I will be corrupt. Money is the root of all evil, probably the most, common disempowering, negative perception about money. Here's another great one. I shouldn't want more. This is near and dear to my heart, because this is one that I have grappled with for years and years and years. Well, maybe I'm a simple person, and so I just shouldn't want more money in my life. So who can relate to this? I shouldn't want more, right? It's an interesting thing too, because we as humans, it's interesting because once we reach a goal and we reach whatever that state of more is, oftentimes we want more. And that's just the nature of humans, right? That's what makes us like driven, creative creatures that want to continue to create and achieve more in life. So take a look at, I shouldn't want more. Money is, money is bad. Money is wrong. I shouldn't want more of it, or I have enough. So here's another thing. Another really common thing that comes up for people is, well, I have enough, so I'm good. I have, enough to feed myself and my family, enough to get by in my life, so I shouldn't want more, or I don't need more. So here's something to tap into. Well, maybe you don't need more. And if you set aside that belief and you just dove into really making as much money as possible in your life, obviously staying within alignment with who you are and how much you want to work for that money and what you want to do to achieve that money, think about the difference you could make with that money, right? If you're telling yourself, well, I don't need more because I have enough to get by. Well, if you, upped the ante and really dove into the game of life, right? Like, it's just an interesting thing to think about. What could you do with that money if you didn't need it personally? You could donate it. You could find charities. You could volunteer your time. You could take money and invest in, other people's companies. You could help, in so many different ways. So that's just a very common thing. And I think it's, when I first started thinking about that, I was like, wow, because I told myself for years, I shouldn't want more. I don't need any more. I'm simple. I've got this down. I don't need to, you earn any more money. I don't need to. But then I started to think about, wow, well, maybe I don't need any more, but what if I had more? What more things could I do in the world? And this goes for entrepreneurs, as big time entrepreneurs as well, because think about it. If you continue to earn revenue in your business and maybe you personally don't need any more and you're taken care of, think about how much you could invest of that money into your business to keep spreading your message to the world. So like at Avaya Media, we create positive films, courses, books, and webinars like this. And so the more money that we make, the more money we can invest into spreading these messages out into the world so that we can help more people. So same thing with all of you listening right now, whatever passion you have, maybe you're a healer, or maybe you help people, work on their relationship issues, or whatever it is, you help people be better parents, right? Having more money helps you build your business to get your message out into the world even farther. I'm just going to check over at the comments because we've got a lot of comments right now. Right. Allison is saying money is freedom, so you can go and do and achieve and give more back, right? Absolutely, Allison. Bingo. That is totally it. And money is freedom is one of my favorite affirmations and powerful statements to say. Money is totally freedom to me. Absolutely, 100%. Leslie says it's almost greedy to not want more money, as there are so many people in the world who could use your help if you had money. Absolutely. I get the chills just hearing that. That is exactly what I'm talking about. Let's see. True, Allison, I struggle with deservedness. Yes, absolutely. Just trying to convince my subconscious mind you can still be simple and be a millionaire, says Leslie. Absolutely. You got it, right? You can live whatever kind of a life that you want, a simple life by whatever, language and whatever that looks for you. Live whatever life you feel designed and you feel is your most natural expression. And the more that you make, the more that you can give, the more that you contribute in so many ways. So let's see, there's some more common thoughts and beliefs like, oh, here's a good one. I don't have the right education, right? I can't become an entrepreneur because I didn't go to business school, or I don't have a college degree, or I'm not smart enough. I'm too old, I'm too young, I'm whatever, right? These are all things that the human mind tells us, can tell you, could tell me, could tell any one of us, that just are not true. And once we apply this ROI process tool to them, you can actually figure out, wow, well, that's true. I don't have a college degree. Okay, that's true. But what I've been using it for is an excuse to not move forward. Or I've been using it for, I must, get this business education before I can start my own business, when, well, hell, I can look on YouTube and see a million different tutorials on how to do X, Y, or Z, or I can listen to free webinars like this one on how to break free from my limitations, or any number of things online that can help me, move forward. I can buy programs or, take classes or whatever, but I don't have to go back and get a degree in business in order to be an entrepreneur. Awesome. So these are just examples of taking the I tell myself statements and turning them into truths, really, your truths about prosperity, once again. And on and on and on. So this laundry list of thoughts and beliefs and disempowering, limiting stories about money just goes on and on and on. So once again, just to recap on this, you can apply this ROI process tool to these thoughts and these beliefs, to any of these things that apply to you in your life. You can apply the process to these beliefs and just tell the truth about them. And then ask yourself, is that really true? Remember to check in with yourself and make sure that what you're saying is actually true. Then focus on feeling what that ouch has been for you and for others by telling yourself, something that wasn't true, and then create that new inspired way of being and take an inspired action by a certain date and time. Remember to hold yourself accountable for that. So I have talked and talked and talked about this fabulous tool and all these common thoughts and beliefs about money for quite a while now. So I want to open it up to questions now for everybody listening. So has anything come up for you since I've been talking? And do you want to ask me any particular questions? I'm going to move over to the chat window here and make sure I haven't missed anything. Let's see. Any questions? I don't see anything yet. And I do know, once again, there's a lag with YouTube Live. There's usually, I think, like a 10-second lag. So I'm saying something and 10 seconds later, you're going to hear it. So I'm just going to see. I don't see anything right now. But if anybody starts to have any questions, please chime into the chat box and I will answer those for you. One thing to note is, once again, I'll remind everybody that there's going to be a PDF download that I'm going to email you after this webinar that's going to outline this whole stepwise process of the ROI process tool that I've been talking to you about. So once again, make sure that you pay attention to your email and grab that download so that you can either print it out if you're a person who likes paper and write in the actual piece of printout and go through the steps of the process for yourself, or you can actually just type right into the fillable form fields of the PDF as well. So you can do either thing. All right, I'm looking over here. So Mindy says the ROI process is really resonating with me. I'm excited to go through it. Yay, Mindy, yes. And I will give you the download a little bit later. Perfect. Wonderful, wonderful. So everybody listening, if you don't have any questions, that is all good. Let me just give you a moment to let you know about webinar number 2. So that is going to be Sunday, this coming Sunday, May 7th. And that's going to be 1 p.m. Pacific. That's 2 p.m. Mountain, 3 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Eastern, and 9 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. So again, that is this coming Sunday, May 7th. And I'm staggering these webinars at different days and times to really allow for you to have, if you work on a certain day or you're, with your children on a certain day and you can't tune into the webinar. I was trying to, give you different days and times to work with so that you can tune in live. But once again, if you can't tune in live, you can always tune into the replay. And that's also something I will send out after every single webinar so that you can tune into that afterwards at your leisure. So webinar number 2, again, Sunday, May 7th at 1 p.m. Pacific. And that I'm going to be diving deeper into the truth about your thoughts. Really diving into what are thoughts and what's the truth about them, and what are beliefs and what is the truth about them, and how do your thoughts actually turn into the reality that you experience in life. How do your thoughts actually turn into your experience? And so this is really powerful stuff. I can't wait to dive into that with you next time. And you're going to have the opportunity to really discover how being aware, once again, of how your mind works really will allow you to manifest more and more money into your life and manifest that quality of life that you're looking to achieve. So being aware, once again, number 1 first thing in making more money and having more prosperity in your life. I'm going to go over to the chat window again. Let's see. Questions. Allison is saying there is something called social intelligence that you can't learn. If you have that, you're halfway there. Got it. So not a question, but a statement. Okay. And somebody missed the beginning. If you missed the beginning, I will be sending out a replay link shortly after this webinar ends, and you'll be able to watch the beginning and watch it over and over again. So I totally encourage you to do that. So Jan is saying, I have been delving deeply into my inner self. And with that, I have so many subconscious blocks surfacing, defying all that I'm trying to accept. Yep, Jan, perfect. Because guess what? You're becoming aware. As you dive in, you're becoming aware of these blocks, right? Subconscious blocks. You're becoming aware of them. And once you become aware of them, they're no longer blocks, right? So you're doing the work. The blocks are surfacing. You're seeing them. You're shining awareness on them, and just keep doing that. Every time you come up with that block, right? Try this ROI process tool on them. If you have a block of you don't deserve to make a lot of money, very common block. That's just the first thing that comes to my head right now. If you have that block coming up, is that really true, Jan? Just take a look at that statement you tell yourself. I'm not saying you tell yourself this. This is just another common example. Is that really true? Well, no, of course it's not true. Of course you deserve to make a lot of money. We all do. Who doesn't deserve to make a lot of money, right? We're all deserving of making a lot of money. Okay, Stephanie says, can you give me one more example of the ouch factor? I'm not real clear about that. Okay, let's see. Let me go back to my examples here. Okay, so Stephanie, here's an example. So let's say you have a belief that you failed at starting your own business or something, and you don't think it's ever going to work for you because you failed in the past, right? So I tell myself I failed in the past, so I will never succeed when I try to start my own business. Let's say that's what you tell yourself. Well, the truth is, well, I failed in the past, or really that's my perception of what happened. And the truth for me is, I can succeed if I'm committed to that and I want that, right? So that could be a truth for you. And then touching in again, is that really true for you? seeing if it resonates. Yes, that's true for me. It's true for me that I know I can succeed as long as I'm committed to succeeding, and that's what I want, right? So the ouch factor, Stephanie, for just this example I am making up right now could be, well, if you keep telling yourself that you're never gonna succeed because you failed in the past, then you're probably failing right now. So what is the ouch for you right now? The ouch, or the impact that telling yourself I'm a failure or I'm going to continue to fail is having on your life. Well, if you keep telling yourself you're a failure, then that might be hurting you, right? Creating that ouch for you in that you're unhappy. You feel disempowered. You don't feel confident. You might feel insecure, right? You might feel anxious. Another ouch for you is if you keep telling yourself that you're a failure, or you'll never make it. You are a failure, or you will never make it. I'm totally tongue-tied right now. Then maybe you're struggling financially, right? So the ouch of struggling financially is what for you, Stephanie? Maybe that's you're concerned about having enough money when you're a 70-year-old woman, and how are you going to take care of yourself? Or maybe you're concerned of how that can impact your children if you don't have enough money to take care of yourself later in life, or any number of things. Or you can't take the vacations that you want because you don't have the money, because you keep telling yourself that you're never going to succeed, right? So this is really the ouch. Stephanie, let me know if that all sunk in for you as far as what the ouch factor is. So again, ouch factor is diving into the impact or the ouch that you telling yourself something that's not true has had on your life. So if you tell yourself that I'm not good with money, or I'm not good at making money, and that's not true because that's just something you're telling yourself, then the ouch for you could be, well, I only have $10 in the bank. And because I only have $10 in the bank, I'm anxious and worried and freaking out because I don't have enough money to get by in my life, right? Those are all the ouches that could come out of you telling yourself and believing that I'm not good with money. So that, again, is an example of the ouch. And I hope that I cleared that up for you, Stephanie. Anything else from anybody? Allison says, loving this, Andy. Awesome. Thank you, Allison. I'm so glad you're here and tuning in. I'm not seeing any other new questions from anybody. So once again, I think I'll wrap this up right now. It's been about an hour, and webinar number 2 is coming up on Sunday, May 7th at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern, and that's 9 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. And if you are in a whole different part of the world, it's probably the middle of the night, but you can tune into the replay for that if you can't tune in at those particular times, or if you're asleep in bed at that particular time. Again, in webinar 2, we're going to dive into even more deep about the truth about your thoughts and your beliefs, and how those thoughts and beliefs, how powerful they are, first of all, and how they actually turn into the thoughts they turn into the actual reality you experience in your life. Okay, Allison is saying, okay, Stephanie says, gotcha, got it. That is why I feel so much pain. It did, thank you. Okay, awesome, Stephanie. And here's another thing. Here's the thing. You feeling so much pain, and I get the ouch factor also creates you to feel those feelings, and it might create you to feel that pain. And then that's actually a good thing. It sucks on one level. It's no fun on one level to be able to feel that pain. But on the other level, that's how you transform, right? That's how, if, any of you are parents and your kid does something and, something silly or stupid or whatever, right? And those are all judgments, but they do something that they know they shouldn't. They end up getting hurt, or they end up getting into an accident or whatever, right? I bet that hurt, and they learn from that accident. How many people can, relate to that? And we've all had things we've done in life where we did something, it hurt on some level. Maybe it was physical pain or emotional pain, but it hurt on some level. And then we learned to never do that again, or we learned to do something different next time. So pain is actually, you're in a perfect spot right now, Stephanie. So thank you so much for sharing that. Allison says, I have a little problem sometimes with motivating myself. This can hold me back. Any tips? Well, I would say that first off, I would tap into, how often do you tell yourself that, Allison? Are you telling yourself, I have problem motivating myself? And is that something that's true for you, or is it something that you tell yourself and then it becomes true for you? So that's my first question. Second question is, if you really do have trouble motivating yourself, I'd say, well, what are you doing? And are you doing something that you enjoy? Because obviously, if you're having trouble motivating yourself to get out of bed or to do something in your business or at your job or whatever you're doing, then if it's a challenge for you, then I would say that it doesn't sound like you're enjoying what you're doing. So I would tap into that. And if you're not enjoying what you're doing, then apply the process to that. Maybe you're telling yourself that you do love what you're doing, but then you find yourself not motivated by that. So apply the process to that and see what you come up with. But it's really challenging, I know, to get motivated in doing anything if I'm not enjoying it. And not to say there aren't certain things in life that I don't enjoy. I don't particularly enjoy taking out the trash. However, the impact or the ouch of not taking out the trash is that my house smells. And so that outweighs my, initial lack of motivation for taking out the trash. Right. So it might not be something I enjoy in the moment, but I really enjoy when it's done. I really enjoy that the house no longer smells if I let it get to that point and didn't take out the trash. So that's kind of another way of looking at the ouch factor. So again, Allison, just take a look at what is it that you're doing? Are you enjoying what you're doing? Because you, as with everybody listening right now and everybody in the world, deserves to do something that they love. Because what's the point? What's the point of being here if we can't do what we love and do what we're best at? And this is the whole thing I keep talking about it's really much easier for us to be our best and dive into what we're here to do and our passions in life if we have financial well-being, right? And so maybe that's something that you're stuck in right now. But let's see, I'm going to go over the chat window again. Grateful for your time and energy. My eye imagery, fabulous. It's midnight here, Allison. Oh my goodness, it's late. But again, that's all perception. Maybe it's early, depending on how you look at it. Stephanie says, brilliant, wonderful, so true. Okay, Jan says, Allison, I'm learning that lack of motivation is your subconscious trying to keep things the same. It hates change. Ooh, that's good, Jan. That's a really great way of looking at it. Yeah, that kind of touches on what I first said when you asked your question, Allison, right? Maybe you do love what you're doing, right? The flip side of what I was just talking about is maybe you do love what you're doing. And of course, I'm just speculating, but is your subconscious mind, is your egoic thought system trying to tell you that, tell you things to keep you unmotivated so that you don't move forward, right? Is your subconscious mind fearful of succeeding? So that's all really good stuff. Jan, thanks so much for bringing that up. I think that is a perfect thing to remind Allison of and all of us of. There's a lot of things that our minds can tell us of, especially when we're growing and we're in a period of breaking free from our limitations and, getting up and up in our game to achieving more and more, greater levels of financial freedom. Yes, oftentimes you can wake up in the morning and that little voice chimes in, is like, oh, I just want to stay in bed today. And, oh, I don't really like what I'm doing, or I'm not having that much fun, or, I could just lie here. Right. So keep in mind all of those things, especially as you move forward and you start uncovering disempowering stories. Keep in mind that voice can chime in and try to help you along your way and along your journey even more. So, but it's all about awareness. All right. Oh, thank you. My eye imagery says, come on, y'all, give Andy a thumbs up here in YouTube. Thank you so much. Wonderful. Leslie, great talk. Very well articulated. Allison, thank you. Wonderful. And Jan says, I believe repetition will empower new beliefs. You got it. Here's the thing about the ROI process tool. Repetition, just you do it over and over and over again, or any tools that you apply into your life. It's all about practice. It's something that I'm continuously practicing, that, everyone in the world in the personal development, spiritual development space is practicing, right? Just because I'm here talking on this webinar doesn't mean I'm not practicing for myself, because it is a constant practice. So awesome. Everybody, thank you so much. I am going to hop off now. Once again, thank you for listening, everybody. Once again, I will send you that email after the webinar ends here, with the PDF download and the link to the replay. And I think that's it. Thank you so much for joining me, everybody. All of you are absolutely amazing. I love you. And once again, I am Ande Anderson, and let's build a fortune together.